they read from this gospel about turning the other cheek. And they sat down in the back, and all of a sudden, after he said, when the preacher got up and began to speak, saying, when someone strikes you on one cheek, turn the other cheek as well. Then all of a sudden, one person starting on the very beginning row turns to the person next to them and then smacks them upside the face. They turn the other cheek to the next person beside them and then smacks them upside the cheek. And then so on and so forth. And they look at each other like, we're getting out of here. Knowing my grandfather, my great uncle, they'd probably be a little bit more than turning the other cheek in this situation. So they decided to leave. Now, not making fun of the people who are doing that, but as we kind of see, many times these sayings of Jesus get misunderstood or mistaken of their intent. So we see at the very beginning, because an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, it talks about the law of how things are supposed to be equal, equal reciprocity and justice. So for an eye for a tooth, in this Jesus forbids the misuse of the Mosaic civil law to justify private vengeance. It talks about this in Exodus. In Exodus, it was meant to limit retribution. It was never an invitation to inflict punishment or for personal injuries or to extend the personal vengeance beyond the injury suffered, meaning that just because somebody, doesn't mean you need to burn their house down, that kind of thing. And we see kind of how it, and he was discussing and pointing out that people have kind of taken this to the extreme level and taking out things personally instead of letting the authorities of their community and the Jewish religious community do a trial, because the Old Testament has a lot to say about what to do when it comes with somebody accused with a crime. Actually, most of our law is kind of based on it. We like to say Roman and Common English, but all that was kind of based off the law through Judaism. Again, the punishment had to fit the crime, but not exceed it. In this, Jesus forbids private vengeance, revenge, vendetta, or blood feuds, which was very common during that time period. I mean, we see something like this in other places in the world at times, but it was if somebody messed with somebody else, then one village would basically go and ransack